Today is a very auspicious day, appearance day of our previous Acharya of our mat, Srila Bhakti, Bushan Bhagavat Goswami Maharaj. We just sang now this song. I will read the translation. When will Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestow his mercy upon me? When will I attain the shade of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas? By the grace of Mahaprabhu, he brought this Sadhu Sangha, through whom he distributed devotion. When will I renounce my identity as the enjoyer? When will I honor the Vaishnavas? One who has this false ego, I'm the enjoyer, he can never give respect to anyone. Not only Vaishnavas, to anyone. Because he wants to enjoy. If he gives any respect to others, it is because he has some interest behind, for cooperation, for something. But it is not there. So with Vishaya Bhiman, with this ego of enjoyer, you cannot give respect to the Vaishnavas. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur here is saying, when will I renounce this, and when can I offer respect to the Vaishnavas, knowing who they are? They are very dear to Supreme Lord, and by their grace I can get service of Krishna. With a cloth around my neck, that is the sign of humility. That is why in our mat you will see all brahmacharis, they have to wear dhoti and this galvastra or chadar also, necessary. It is compulsory for arati time and for kirtan time, for harikatha time, nagar sankirtan time. It is necessary. They also taught me. One can have sweater and all this, or kurta. Kurta is not so prominent in our mat. Like some say dhoti and kurta, that is Vaishnava dress. But it is dhoti and this chadar. And they taught me, because of this, that is a sign of humility. And also because you need for some in puja and like this, and for sandhya, and the sign of humility is this cloth. With a cloth around my neck, my hands folded, and straw between my teeth, that is also one sign of humility, I shall stand before the Vaishnavas free of duplicity, sincerely, bitterly weeping. I shall relay all my miseries and beg for relief from the blazing fire of material existence. If you realize, and if you are sincere, then you can tell. Otherwise you will try to hide. You will always pretend I am well, I'm all this. There is one Vaishnava I know, senior Vaishnava. He usually asks, how are you? And if someone tells him, I am well, then Maharaj always knows it is something suspicious here. But if you say, I'm not well, then he will say, yes, you are sincere. Beg for relief from the blazing fire of material existence. When the venerable Vaishnavas hear of my suffering, we have to open sincerely. They will appeal to Sri Krishna profusely on my behalf. If really I submit, they will see that sincerity and they will pray. In response to the Vaishnavas' prayers, because Vaishnavas, they are very close to Krishna, they're surrendered. Their prayers, Krishna hears. Those who are surrendered, we hear in that song. So Krishna will hear. The all-merciful Shri Krishna will become compassionate upon this wicked person, because Vaishnava will pray. So out of love for that Vaishnava, he will. Bhakti Vinod prays to the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas, be merciful and take this destitute person into your association. In Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs, all Shastra is there. It is non-different from Shastra. And in a very beautiful way, and that you can express all realized knowledge is there, and for devotion. That is something different, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's songs. It is pure devotional, it is made of pure devotion. So today, it is the appearance day of our Bhagavat Goswami Maharaj. I will read something which they wrote here. His mother, Srimati Goshta Bala Devi, was a pious woman. His father, Sri Sukhamoy Natva, was a rich landlord. His parents had 4 sons and 1 daughter. He was third amongst them. The name given by his parents was Srinivas. In young age of 27 years only, he surrendered his life in the service for the devotees. During the year 1950, founder Acharya of All India Sri Chaitanya Gauriya Math, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj Vishnupad was so pleased with his service that he awarded Harinam, Diksha and saffron cloth to him on the same day. This is rarely of in Vaishnava world. His Diksha name was Sri Narayan Prasad Brahmachari. Maharaj ji was quite dear to his Gurudev since young age. He was one of the first disciples of Parang Gurudev. This was in 1950. At that time there was no Chaitanya Gauriya Math yet. They were staying in Chaitanya Math, original Chaitanya Math. Our Gurudev also, Srila Triyashai Maharaj and those who were before. So he was one amongst them. And later in 1955, Parang Gurudev came out. Maharaji was quite dear to his Gurudev since young age. He served Tezpur Math as in charge for about 56 years. During this time, he spread the reach of Gauriya Math Tezpur extensively. Since many years, he had been and is still organizing Sri Navadip Dham Parikrama every year. He was when Parang Gurudev came out from Chaitanya Math and they rented one place in Kolkata, Rajbihari Avenue. At that time he was Pujari there, Bhagavat Maharaj. That time Brahmachari, he was Pujari. So he's very expert in Archan. I saw when I was with him in Mayapur, how he used to instruct our Pujari there in Mayapur. Maharaj looked everything very closely about deities and everything, and he used to instruct this. I saw, and very eager for this seva. And also he used to daily do upstairs his own Tulsi Puja in elaborate way up in front of his room. It took time. I saw, and offering this, and very, you can see if someone is really doing with heart, with devotion, doing worship. He also rebuilt the temple and satsang hall of Sri Gauriya Math, which was established by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that is in Sarbog. He also planned and oversaw the construction of Samadhi of his Gurudev, a large hall, grand main entrance, etc. at Sri Chaitanya Gauriya Math, Sri Dham Mayapur. And you also know in our Mayapur Math, Param Gurudev established that Radha Kunda. And Bhagavat Maharaj later made this Shyama Kunda. And he made all the ghats and everything he made. Gurudev installed in 2012 that Shyama Kunda in presence of Bhagavat Maharaj. I saw him there. So he made that. And also now if you go to Mayapur, that big Prasad hall, now in 3 stories it is there. He made, there is a big hall in ground floor and then middle, and on top there are rooms. He also had his room. Actually, he made a room there in that building for Gurudev, Acharya Bhavan in ground floor. But Gurudev, at that time, Gurudev was already not, he was already in Calcutta. That was 2012. But Gurudev did not enter that room. But Bhagavat Maharaj made for him one special room in that. Gurudev was staying in this, his Bhajan Kutir, and then he was in Calcutta, you know, from 2013. So that hall, and also now some other buildings there, very active for our Mayapur Math. And also I heard how he saw this. Usually we complain to others, against others. No one wants to do anything. But Bhagavat Maharaj's vision was different. Vaishnavas are so merciful. They are not doing, so they are giving me opportunity to do this seva. They are so merciful. This was his vision. Because when one is a devotee of Krishna and he has love for all and he can see good qualities in all, he never complained. But he saw this, it is very good. They are very merciful. They're giving me, they could do, but they gave me opportunity of service to rescue me. This was his vision. So many things he did in our Math, even this Samadhi of now, Param Gurudev and Gurudev, he made this idea that there should be one building for both together, because they are so closely connected. You cannot separate one from the other, Param Gurudev and Gurudev. And he made this idea that it will be one, and Arati can be done together, and Parikrama will be done one time. He made all this, and the gate, and so many things in Mayapur. And in Tezpur, Gauriya Math, he was in charge, we heard, 56 years. He was very devoted to our Gurudev. Of course, Param Gurudev, and then after the disappearance of Param Gurudev, very devoted to our Guru, full faith and full submission, full love. So now, further, here it is written, Srila Maharaj narrates the following 2 exceptionally inspirational happenings during his life, which occurred around the year 1970. During those days, means now Maharaj speaking, during those days, my Gurudev, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj Vishnupad, was at Tezpur, Gauriya Math, engaged in preaching programs. One night I got up at about 2 a.m. and went to the bathroom. On the way back, I saw that the light of Gurudeva's room was on. I wondered if Gurudev left the light on and went to sleep, or whether he slept while sitting on a chair. I took gradual steps towards his room, contemplating whether the door was also left open. I thought if Srila Gurudev would be awake, I would submit humbly to him to take some rest before Mangal Arati begins. As I drew near to the door, I pressed my hand on the door, which fell open. I was surprised to see that Srila Gurudev was chanting Harinam. I offered my obeisances and requested him, Guru Maharaj, it is very late now. It is about 2:30 a.m. May you please take some rest. We are going to have Mangal Arati at 4:45 a.m. After that, you will be engaged in preaching programs the whole day. The Gurudev smiled and said, Narayan Das, what can I do? My chanting rounds are yet not over. Then now Bhagavat Maharaj saying, I was spellbound and understood that chanting fixed number of rounds daily is very essential. Although Srila Guru Maharaj preached whole day, he inspired lot of people to do Hari Bhajan, still he was waiting to finish his fixed number of rounds before he takes rest. This I heard from Gurudev also. Our Parangurudev whole day he was engaged in preaching and he was chanting during night time on his mala, Harinam, like Haridas Thakur also. So they are teaching by example. This is very important. There is one, our God brother Sannyasi, a very nice devotee. He sometimes he chanted this much rounds, this much, and other God brothers, they told him that you have to chant fixed number, not one day this much, that much, like this. Then he said, I never heard from my Gurudev, means our Gurudev, that to chant fixed number. I never heard. So then what happened? In 2000, I think 6, when Gurudev was in Delhi, or it was 2000, no, before that, 2004 or 3, when our new temple was inaugurated in Delhi, that Guru Gauranga Radha Shyam Sundar were installed, the bigger one. At that time, Gurudev played the pastime of being ill and was taken to Apollo Hospital, and that Ram Navami was there also that period, I think 2004. My mother was there, I think Urmila also. So, at that time when Gurudev was in hospital, this Maharaj came and offered obeisance to Gurudev, and Gurudev was lying like there in hospital, and when he saw him, then Gurudev said, Shankya Nam Karo, means you chant fixed number. So Gurudev knew that he is saying, I never heard from Gurudev. Personally, I never heard. So why I will do? So Gurudev is omniscient. So just he saw him and he told him this. Then that Maharaj started to smile, how Gurudev knows everything. Then from that time on, he was more particular about fixed number. That means minimum fixed. You can chant more if someday you have more time, that is okay, more, but not less than your fixed number. Unless there is some exceptional some emergency or something. And Gurudev also said that you can, if sometimes you cannot finish, you can finish them next day, those extra rounds, but it should not happen very often. This is very exceptional, very rarely. If something like happens that you cannot do, like 4 more rounds you had to chant, so you can chant them next day, those extra, but it should not happen very often. So here Srila Bhagavat Maharaj said, I got this teaching from my Gurudev that this is very important. Yesterday or day before yesterday, I told that this is for us sadhakas. This is very important. Those who already realize their eternal relation with Krishna, they will chant Harinam always. No need to tell them. And they are not counting because they are all the time chanting, like breathing. But for us, this is important. So those who are acharjos, preachers, they are also doing fixed number, like Goswami said. Why? To be example for us. That is why Mahaprabhu told to Haridas, you are already perfected soul, so there is no need for you to chant, to have fixed number. You are all the time chanting. And you already preached so much, so now you can reduce. Then Haridas Thakur, yes, but this is not the real reason. Then he told, we heard. So here we see how this is important. Our Parangurudev is a realized soul, personal associate of Krishna, but he's doing this just to give us teaching by his own example. And Bhagavat Maharaj remembers this point very clearly in his life, that how he got from Gurudev, that this is very important. And this Maharaj, our God brother, he now also likes to say this, how he was giving excuse. I never heard from Gurudev directly, but in hospital, Gurudev is lying down like half conscious, but the first thing he told him this. So then from that time on, he could not make this excuse. Then further, second incident, in year 1970, I met Srila Guru Maharaj with 2 brahmacharis. We explained about our planning that we would prepare and print short advertisements, pamphlets, and distribute across villages, cities. We also told that we would publish short booklets and distribute them. Our preaching team would perform Nagar Sankirtan across those villages and cities and would organize preaching programs. In this way, we would have also collected some money for the service of the month. I also explained Gurudev who all would go where and how much time would be spent at each location. Srila Guru Maharaj gave me a patient hearing while sitting on his chair. I was sitting near him on the floor. Once I completed my proposal, he whispered in my ear, "Won't you do Harinam?" He's chanting, "Won't you do Harinam?" And then Bhagavat Maharaj saying, I went quiet and felt chill in my spine, thinking I had been explaining vivid plans, and he so politely said that. I immediately recalled words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must practice what you preach. Since that day, I decided that even if I may not be able to do enough, but I will at least chant 1 lakh Harinam daily. Since then, whether I have lot of services or not, whether I am busy or not, I always chant 1 lakh Harinam daily. So he will do this preaching, that everything. Parangurudev heard and said, at the end, you will not chant Harinam? Then this touched him. Oh. This is important. By your own example, you have to preach. by your own practice. And at that time he decided that he will chant Hari 1 lakh, and he was doing. Now in old age he was doing more, when he did not have so much with management of that matter. Like when he was in Mayapur, all the time you will see Maharaj is chanting Mala. He would chant more than 1 lakh that time, 2 lakh or 3 lakh, all the time chanting, and very blissfully. And also because so much practice, he was chanting quite fast, you could see. Like Gurudev also, they're chanting very fast, so it goes. Because there is no mental blockages, no anartha blockages, nothing. Only going smoothly, chanting on that transcendental platform is going like smoothly. So this is Maharaj told these two incidents made a big impact on my heart. Parangurudev gave him sannyas, and he was there also when Samadhi was there. Then he was fully devoted to our Gurudev. And I met Maharaj first time in 2011 when I was in Mayapur for 14 days, and in between there was Nityananda Trayodashi Day. So at that time Maharaj came for a few days to Mayapur from Tezpur, and I heard his Harikatha in Bangla. At that time I could not understand so much, but what I saw was that Maharaj was fully established, spiritually established, not theoretically speaking, but speaking exact thing. And another thing I saw, Maharaj would sit on that stage in lecture hall, one asana, and looking towards deities and chanting Harinam. And I still have that impression how he was, with liking he was chanting. I saw that. Little moving mouth, but I saw that it was not a struggle or like when will it finish, like I'm chanting, when will it finish, and nervous and struggle, very difficult. But he was not chanting like that. He was with great enthusiasm and with great liking, in lively he was chanting and seeing there Thakurji, rather Madan Mohan sing. I still have that impression how he was chanting. Then in 2018 I came there for Kartik little before. He was there at that time, because now in last Leela he was mostly staying in Mayapur. It was his favorite place. So at that time I got more association with him. There was a spiritual you could feel a spiritual platform was there when he was there. It was going on very nicely. Some atmosphere was there, spiritual atmosphere. And so they also introduced me, and they told I can little speak Bangla. So Maharaj was very happy, and he was asking me some questions. I replied like this. He was smiling, always smiling, Maharaj. And he was on a wheelchair at that time, and he spoke Harikatha, that Gajendra Moksha, very lively. What he was doing was very lively, and how he was doing Nagar Sankirtan in the morning, that Radhakund Shamakund Prikrama he came doing with us. And I got this seva, I had to hold mic when he used to give Jayadvani after Mangal Arati or after Sandhya Arati. I had to, and he would not remain still like only one position, but he would say Jai Shri Guru, like very lively. So I had to follow with mic where he's going. Very loudly he would say about our Gurudev, Jai. And sometimes I also had to say his Jai after. And they lifted him up by wheelchair to come to that lecture hall. But one day there was no one. So I thought now it is my opportunity. So one or two times also I had that chance to lift on one side wheelchair, another brahmachari another side, and we put Maharaj up. And one time he called me and said, Ek kaj ache, there is some work. Then I said, Ki, what? Then he said, there, the brikha, there sukhi. Some plants were there in front of his, that bhajan kutir, some plants, tulsi and some other plants also. He said they're sukhi, means they're dry. So you jal divo. Then I asked Kobe when I shall do it. He said now, means no. He did not say now. After Richa, whenever you want. He was not like forcing. He said now they are sukhi, they are dry. So whenever you have time. So I did that same also to water those plants there. And then one time also I met him in room or two times there in his room. So when I came, Maharaj was doing Sandhya on bed. I saw him. So the Sevak said, you wait now for some time. So I spoke there with Sevaks and like this. Then Maharaj came out and like this, and they were discussing among themselves something. Then suddenly Maharaj said, did I do Sandhya? Because old age, playing the pastime, like Gurudev, like memory is not so sharp. So like this word, did I do Sandhya? And the Sevaks were also not sure. Then I said, Maharaj, you did. I saw. I did. I said, yes, Maharaj, you did. In Bangla. And then he was peaceful. So that was also one kind of seva. Because I saw, I came at that time. So that is why I could not. So one time also at least I tried to humbly, I tried to approach Maharaj. And I asked him, Maharaj, I am from Slovenia and also in household. So you please give me some guidance how I should do bhajan there. Then he said, same as here. In Bangla he was speaking, and there was also one translator in case I would not understand. He said, same, like here, kirtan, everything, same like here. Then he asked me, that is a Muslim country? I said, no. Then no problem. Because Muslim, maybe, I don't know, maybe they are having some more restrictions that you cannot do other religion or something, or they will oppress you, I don't know. But if not, then he said, then no problem, like here. Then he was speaking something, and then suddenly in between, he remembered one verse, and with emphasis, he was telling me, I will read you that verse, that line of one song. Bhajo Bhajo Hari, Madrida Kori. Yes. Kiba Jyoti, Swati Kiba Nicha Jati, Jai Hori Nahi Bhaje, Tobe Janamia Bromia Bromia Raurava Narake Maje. It is sung by Lochan Das Thakur, Bhajo Bhajo Hari, one line. Suddenly he remembered and he repeated few times this. It means whether one is renounced, chaste, or low caste. If he does not worship Sri Hari, then he will take birth, wander within the material world, and drown in the hell known as Raurab. So his point was, whether you are sannyasi or you are a householder, you are woman or low-born or Brahmin-born or whatever, or Slovenia-born or India-born or America-born, it doesn't matter. The thing is, one who will not worship Supreme Lord, he will have to take birth again and again, and he will have to be in hell, hellish material existence, suffering all the time. So he wanted to make me understand, you don't worry about this. These things, where you took birth, where the place, time, all, no. The thing is whether you will worship Supreme Lord or not. If you will not, then you will go to hell, and but if you will worship, that is, you have to do. And then he told me, Kub Harinam Kor, means you do a lot of Harinam, a lot, Kub, a lot, plenty of Harinam you do. Then he said, now there will be Harikatha. So then we went down and he was speaking Harikatha daily there in temple in Kartik time. So then also he was explaining Gajendra Moksha, and because he could not see at that time so well, they made that printing like for Gurudev, but somehow it was difficult to see those verses like this, so he was not speaking verses. But every day Kartik, he would explain full Gajendra Lila, that he went to that, there was that mountain and that lake and crocodile catch him. And then he said, oh Bhagavan, Govindo, Govindo, oh Bhagavan, you please rescue me. Then Bhagavan came and cut the crocodile, and Gajendra was rescued. Daily he would explain same thing, full Gajendra Moksha, not verse by verse, but that. And he was very fond of explaining. Every day he used to explain Chaitanya Upanishad, how when that Pipalada comes to Brahma and says to him, how should I do bhajan? Then Brahma said, first you have to do tapasya. And although in the Upanishad it is meant like brahmacharya and this, but Maharaj always said, you have to do tapasya, you have to chant Harinam a lot. That tapasya. So that Pipalada did for 1 year tapasya and then came back. Then Brahma told him that the people of this age, they will be rescued by the appearance of Supreme Lord in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he will preach this Mahamantra. In Chaitanya Upanishad it is there from Atharva Veda, that he would explain daily. He was very fond of that. Like our Gurudev at the end, he used to explain one topic all the time. Like this Maharaj, this Chaitanya Upanishad, whoever came, he would explain. He was very fond. So now during Gajendra Moksha in between, suddenly again he remembered something, means some maybe by the grace of Gurudev, suddenly he remembered and he started to look at me and he said this verse. I will Open now. From Chaitanya Charitamrita. Looking at me during Harikatha. Nicho jati nohe Krishna bhajane ajogya. Satkula vipra nohe bhajanero jogya. Jai boje sei boro abhakta hin char. Krishna bhajane nahi jati kul adi bichar. Translation. A person born in a low family is not unfit for discharging devotional service to Lord Krishna, nor is one fit for devotional service simply because he is born in an aristocratic family of Brahmanas. The one is automatically qualified if he is Brahman Indian born, and one who is Slovenia born, he is disqualified. No, it is not like that. Anyone who takes to devotional service is exalted. Jai Boje Sei Bhoro. One who will worship, he is great. Anyone who takes to devotional service is exalted, whereas a non-devotee is always condemned and abominable. Therefore, in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord, there is no consideration of the status of one's family. So Maharaj wanted to encourage me that I should not feel discouraged about this, whether Slovenia or household or that. You should not think about this. Thing is, you have to worship Krishna, and of course Maharaj always emphasized on chanting Hari. In all Harikatha, he would explain that from Chaitanya Bhagavat, that Mahaprabhu, he told to those devotees and Brahmins and others who wanted to invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for prasad, we heard now in Chaitanya Charitamrita, they were inviting. But Mahaprabhu said, I eat only in the houses of Lakeshwaras. And general meaning Lakeshwar means one who has lakh of money, means a lot of money. Now lakh is not so much rupees, but at that time, this was like billionaires. So those devotees and Brahmins, they so we cannot even earn like 1,000 rupees. Maharaj says, Sahasra. 1,000 rupee, how we can be Lakeshwar, means 100,000, 1 lakh. They were disappointed. Mahaprabhu will not come if we are not that rich. Then Mahaprabhu smiled, seeing them, said, no, I did not mean one who has 1 lakh rupees, but one who chants 1 lakh Harinam daily. He is Lakeshwar. Only in such a house I will take prasad. So Maharaj used to emphasize this on every Harikatha, because he himself was always chanting Harinam, so he can. And also one time Vasudha asked him something by WhatsApp. So Maharaj replied that question. And then after, when replying that question, he said, you and Madan Gopal should both chant 1 lakh Harinam daily. Then I was afraid, and Vasudha was, no, it is very good. So we tried for some time, but it was difficult. Then I again sent message to Maharaj that it is very difficult to daily chant 1 lakh. For me, what to do? Then Maharaj replied back. I have that recording through Seva. That, okay, if you cannot chant 1 lakh, then you chant as much as you can. Like Gurudev also told me, same words. As much as you can. Joto pari, as much as you can, that much you do. But at least on some special days, you, like special titis, like Janmashtami, Gaur Purnim, like this, at least on those days, you try to more chant. So I have very good memories of Maharaj. Very, very nice Vaishnav, sweet Vaishnav, very strict and really lively he was doing. All bhajan. Gurudev was also very fond of him, I saw. So he was serving as a charge of our mat. He was giving initiations and inspiring, traveling also as much as he could in that old age. Then last year during Gaur Purnima, I saw a photo that he gave 10 sannyas initiations. I saw a photo. Then when I saw that photo, immediately some feeling came from within me. Oh, now Maharaj fulfilled all his duties. What he had to do as his duty, now it is fulfilled. I think now he will not remain for much longer in this world. And really it happened. Within a short time, he disappeared, So they are all the time only in the service of Krishna and inspiring others and guiding others for the service of Krishna. So he was very nice. Now they also made very nice Samadhi Mandir in our Mayapur mat, where all other Samadhis are there of Parangurudev's mother and other prominent sannyasis of our Parangurudev, but his Samadhi is in that area, but they made some nice with that a little more they made very beautiful. I can send photos. So on today's day, Maharaj appeared, and I'm remembering him and his samadhi there, bowing down to him and praying for his causeless mercy. Really, he was inspiring because he himself was a real devotee. So you could feel that. He was very encouraging. He could inspire. His Harikatha was very inspiring, everything. And his presence, everything was, you could feel that he's holding up the atmosphere. And everything was going on smoothly, and all devotees, they loved him, he laughed. And cows also. He used to take care of cows in Mayapur. So, Haribol. Tomorrow we'll hear further Chaitanya Charitamrita.